Look, the biggest podcast where you can learn them lessons. Line for line where you can learn from different sections. Made it out the mud, come tell your story, blessings. Never know who listening, never know who stressing. Divine gave you a voice, come speak your honest truth. Line for line, go bar for bar, it's up to you. Wanna talk sports, gov, and politics? Wanna talk about where you from and your accomplishments? Then Line for Line is really where you need to be. A platform that's really made for folks like you and me. You can find it all no matter what you seek. Whether you calling or you listening, tune in every week.
All right. Just like that, we're back in another very special episode of Line for Line podcast. I'm Devon Booker, the host with the most. Before we get ready to get started, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave an interactive comment for me and my guest. We'll let our guest introduce himself to the world.
Lester Wiltfong, editor-in-chief at Windy City Gridiron.
And it has been quite some time, young man, since we laid eyes upon each other. How are you, sir? Do I look different? Do I look the same? But
I mean, you look busy because, that's good though, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Tell me something good though, bro. It's been a hot minute.
I mean, it's been a while since we had a chance to chat, and the Bears have, the Bears are doing their thing. It's not always the most popular thing, but they have a plan. They're sticking to it.
Yes, sir. So as we get ready to get started, let's break down the draft.
The draft, okay.
The highly anticipated draft. Poll said he wanted to build through the draft, and it looks like he stuck to his guns. Does it or does it not?
Well, he had 6 picks to start the draft, and he ended up with 11. So, he realized the roster needs a makeover. He realized they need youth, and he did his thing. 4 trades on day 3, maximized the value of all his picks, and with the draft class like this, it was the one of the biggest draft classes ever because a lot of players took an extra year in school because of the COVID year. So it was a huge draft class. The Bears took advantage with, like I said, 11 draft picks and another 16 undrafted free agents they signed. So yeah, they're making moves.
Yes, sir. So let's dive right into it with the round 2 pick number 39. They went cornerback Kyler Gordon. What did you think of that from Washington?
Like most Bears fans, I was like, what the heck are they doing? It should be a receiver or an offensive lineman. But once I had a chance to chill out, Gordon's a heck of a player. One of the best corners in the draft. Most guys had a first-round grade on him. It's a plug-and-play starter. He's going to step in. He's going to right away start across from Jalen Johnson is my guess. This just pushes Duke Shelley, Kendall Vildor. These guys, they push them, down the depth chart now. So it's a good addition for the Bears.
Those are 2 guys that you're
your favorite. They're your favorites. See, I got to get them first.
I was gonna say you're documented saying that you like those guys as well too. But no, okay. So yeah, round 2, pick 48 that they got from the Chargers. Jaquan Brisker,
again. We're like, man, what is this? No receiver, no lineman. But again, this guy is a safety. The
Day 1 starter.
A day 1 starter again. Probably they needed a safety. They had Tayshaun Gibson the last couple of years, and he was a guy, nothing special. And they brought back DeAndre Houston Carson. They signed Dane Cruikshank, but those guys are more depth pieces.
Special teams.
With Brisker, again, it's a plug-and-play starter. So one day of the draft, the Bears took their weakest group on the team, which it was a secondary. And now, if these guys work out and, they have a pretty good upside, it could be a strength to the team next season.
Yes, sir. So how upset were you that they went back-to-back defensive backs?
Yeah, it was surprising. But, like I said, the more I looked at the film, I didn't look at either one of these guys. I knew a little bit of them, but I didn't look too much, deep into the film because I didn't expect corner safety on day 2. I expected something else. I thought maybe a trade back. But like I said, once I had a chance to look at him, I love the picks.
Yes, sir. I saw Brisker on so many people's mock drafts to go to the Bears, like several. Yeah. Literally, I knew that name. I was like, okay, I can see them getting them because I say there's probably about 2 people off of these mock drafts that the Bears may end up getting.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that they ended up getting one. Why do you think that they didn't go receiver with one of those first 2 picks?
I just think that the value of the draft. On their board, they talked about they wanted to stay with, they couldn't pass up the talent just to get a receiver. Like if you look at it this way, if you can get maybe the second or third corner on your board or the second or third safety on your board or get the 10th receiver on your board, just the value's there for that. And then plus, this is a pretty deep receiver draft, and the Bears did get a receiver with the very next pick.
Yeah, round 3, pick number 71. Velus Jones from Tennessee.
Yeah.
What do you think? Because a lot of people are saying
The age.
But that's the thing. People were saying, "Oh, he's already 25." He didn't turn 25 till a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Which is still people are, "Oh, he's 25." But how do you feel about people saying, "Oh, he's 25. Why'd they get him?"
When it comes to age of draft picks, if it's your first round guy, yeah, I think there's something there that you want to make sure you have him for the long term, because most of your first round picks are guys you're going to re-sign, or you hope they work out their re-sign. It's a third round pick. When his first deal's over after 4 years, he'll be 29. If he is so good to where, man, we got to re-sign him, you just got 4 years of good football from this player. So that's a win in my opinion. So I'm not worried about the age. I mean, he came in so far, and the first camp, the coaches love him. There's a lot of good stuff being said about him. He is already acting like a pro, and he's a rookie. That's the maturity of being 25. He's not into the partying. He's into football. That's what he wants to do. So it's a good pick, a good athlete. One of the best guys in college with the ball in his hands as far as the yards after catch. So they're going to find something for him.
Those catches for him.
Let him. That's what you need. Matt Nagy wouldn't do it. Remember? So if that's what they do, that's beautiful. I mean, he's a guy that has 4.3 speed. He'll go deep for Fields.
But most of his catches are on screens, though.
Let it be.
Why would we want that if he only gets his catches on screens?
Man, I don't give a damn if it's screens, if it's slants, if it's go routes, if that's all he runs, or those 3 plays, and he's productive, I'm good with it.
All right, round 5, pick 168 from Buffalo, Braxton Jones, offensive tackle.
Yeah, I like Jones. I think Jones is in the mix right now. I'm not saying he's going to start, but he's going to push Larry Borum.
What?
Well, it looks like Larry Borum is probably going to be your left tackle. Tevin Jenkins at the right. They could flip him once camp gets going and stuff, but the way the first OTAs went, it was Borum at left, Jenkins at right. The first rookie camp, it was Braxton Jones on the left side, getting to work there. So
how did he do?
I mean, he played left tackle in college. He's big. He's a big dude. He's got long arms. He definitely has tackle size. He has tackle feet. He's a little raw. Coming from Southern Utah, it's not the biggest of school, but I like him as well. There's promise there. I think he could surprise.
Who do you think will start the Bears' offensive line?
From left to right, all the way across?
All the way across.
I think Bourne probably wins that left tackle job. White hair still. Patrick, obviously the center they brought in from the Packers. I think the right guard is still not even on the team. I think they're going to get a veteran. I mean, you can't go into a season with Dakota Dozier and Sam Mustipher as your 2 best options. I mean, there's a chance the rookie we'll talk about in a second here, Zac Thomas, he may be in the mix at right guard because
no way.
Well, he projects to guard. He has tackle size, but he doesn't have the length, to play tackle, but he's a mauler in the run game. So Zac Thomas is the Bears got in the 6th round pick. I'm going to jump ahead here on the board here.
No worries.
Because I think he may be in the mix to start. I mean, especially the way the roster is now. I'll take Zac Thomas as the promise he has over what we know we have in Dakota Dozier and we know we have in Sam Mustipher.
But people were so high on Mustipher, though. They said he's a great football guy. He's a great kid. He has a heart of gold. What's up with that?
Yes, I agree to all that. I like Mustipher. I mean, he's an undrafted free agent from Notre Dame. He maximized his potential. He started like 27 games for the Bears in a couple years. So, from where he came from to where he ended up in his career, it's a nice career for him. I mean, there's a place for him in the league. I think he probably stays with the Bears as the backup, but they added 4 linemen in the draft, so there's a chance some of those guys are going to get pushed out.
Yes, sir. And obviously, round 5, pick number 174, Dominique Robinson, edge from Miami. What do you think of that?
He's a great athlete. He played wide receiver early in his college career, so he's still new to the position, but he has explosiveness. He has good size. He has good bend. He is going to be a guy that will come around slowly. But, if everything hits, again, they're betting on his traits. Again, we're talking about a guy in the 5th round. He's not going to come in and be a starter. But as a backup, they can kind of work in and do some stuff with. I think it's a really good pick.
Yes, sir. Round 6, pick number 86, your boy Zac Thomas.
Zac Thomas. Yeah, like I said, I think he has a good chance to start at right guard, especially with the way the roster is now. But I do think they're going to go out and get a veteran. You got to. I mean, you got to protect Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And if that's your one glaring hole on your O-line, make a move.
Yes, sir. Now, it looks like they also went out and got you a replacement for Tariq Cohen with a 203rd pick of the 6th round. Tristan Ebner.
Yeah, Tristan Ebner is, from Baylor, a smaller guy, kind of like Cohen was. He can do some stuff in the return game like Cohen did. He's great out of the backfield like Cohen was, and that's probably the role that you envision for him is he can do some of that receiver stuff as well. So, again, it's another good pick for the Bears. I mean, good value getting a running back at this point in the draft. I'm not big on drafting running backs unless it's like late day three, and this was late day 3 in the 6th round.
Yes, sir. Obviously, right after that, at the 207th pick from Houston, Doug Kramer. What'd you think?
Yeah, Doug Kramer, a local kid. He's from Illinois. He played his high school ball, I think, at Hinsdale in Illinois. So, he's been a Bear fan all his life. He loves getting picked by the Bears. So, he played only center in college. So right now he's probably going to back up center. But, as a late round pick, you got to maximize value. So I think he's going to probably have to learn guard to
Why do
stick.
they do that, though? The Bears always get these guys and they want to move them around and take them out of their natural habitat.
Well, especially with the reserve, though. I mean, if all you bring to the table as a backup is one spot, you know what I mean? So from his perspective, he wants to maximize what he offers the team. Look at Alex Bars. He's not on the Bears anymore, but he was a guard from Notre Dame. He learned how to play tackle. He learned how to play center, and he lasted on the Bears for a couple seasons because he had that versatility. So with Doug Kramer, if he can show the ability to play guard, maybe he has something at least there.
Yes, sir. Round 7, pick 226 from Cincinnati, Jatiri Carter, offensive lineman.
Yeah, Jatiri Carter, he's raw. He played at a small school, but he went to the Senior Bowl, and when he was there, he kind of impressed. He kind of showed he belonged with the top prospects. I mean, he didn't like dominate, at that point, but again, raw technique, good power at the point of attack, good hands. He played tackle in college. He'll be playing guard in the NFL. So, again, I like all these late round picks the Bears had here.
Yes, sir. Obviously, they went at 254 and got another safety, Elijah Hicks. What did you think about that?
You see his video with the Bears?
No, which one?
The one where he was turned up, he was doing the push-ups and all that. Man, you got to watch that video. He is just so excited. He's so full of energy. This is going to be a fan favorite the entire camp just because of his personality. So, he's fired up. He's kind of a free safety kind of guy, pretty good in coverage. Eddie
Jackson's replacement?
I don't think I go that far. I think,
You be mean, man.
Maybe in a couple years down the road. But again, we're talking about a 7th round draft pick.
What round was Tom Brady drafted in? Just asking.
6th round.
Okay, just making sure. Just asking.
Okay.
Just asking. So you're saying?
So we heard it here first. You're saying Elijah Hicks is going to be the next.
I just asked the question.
Okay.
I just asked the question and wanted an answer.
No, it's possible. He has some upside. Again, all these guys, they're trade guys, and the one thing that they did is they drafted a lot of guys that are like. They're good dudes, like team captains, guys that do stuff with charity work off the field. They're involved in their colleges, so they got a type. They want a guy that good athletes, obviously, but good human beings as well.
Yes, sir. Last pick of the draft, a lot of people were mad. They drafted them a punter. What do you think about that?
I mean, they need a punter. I mean, I guess they didn't want to wait and try and get a guy in undrafted free agency, so they figured, hey, it's our last pick. We traded back 4 times. Let's go ahead and get the guy we want. And Trenton Gill, he's in to compete. I'm not sure he'll win the job. I think it's who's the punter now? Ryan Winslow, or is he the?
Don't even know.
I don't know. I know Pat O'Donnell's in Green Bay.
Yep,
he's out of here. So they need a guy, and I know the guy they have is not very good. Mm-hmm. So these 2 guys will compete, and my guess is Gill probably wins because he has the draft pick pedigree.
You think so?
I mean, if all things are equal, go with your guy, which is Trenton Gill.
So what would you rate this draft?
I mean, overall, I like it. I think it's no first round pick, so you're obviously you don't have that guy to look at as your centerpiece, but first round value in the 2nd round with 2 guys, plug and play starters right off the bat.
So we're hearing it first that Brisker and Gordon are both starting.
I mean, it looks like it. I mean, I can't see. I mean, I'm sure the Bears will make them earn it. The first day of camp, it'll probably be DeAndre Houston Carson out there, with Eddie Jackson. But, DHC is a more reserve guy, more of a nickel dime kind of guy that comes in. Mm-hmm. So I think at some point Brisker will take that job. And then at corner, who's on the roster now? It's is it Vilder going to be starting?
No, I hope not.
I mean, most teams will start the vet, which in this case will probably be Vilder. So, I mean, again, we talked about it before. I mean, maybe Vilder has something. Maybe the competition will push him.
Don't forget about your boy Thomas Graham, too.
Thomas Graham's there. I think he may be in the mix in the slot. I mean, he could be there. We'll see. I mean, I like Graham. I think he has good upside. Again, I think if he pans out to be something, they also got the kid from the Ravens play nickel. So, the secondary is much improved over a year ago.
Definitely up for grabs for these guys.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you say this draft helped Justin Fields?
Oh, that's a good question. Not a lot, to be honest with you. Maybe like in the 4 or 5 range.
Dang.
I mean, they got some linemen who all have to compete to prove what they got. Of these guys, maybe one guy sneaks into the starting lineup, maybe. And then the receiver, well, I like Jones. We're still not talking about a guy that's going to come in and start. He's going to be the guy that's probably your backup slot, maybe your backup at X.
Backup slot? Who's going to start at the slot?
I think Pringle's you're starting in the slot.
Even though he got arrested down there in Florida doing donuts on a suspended license with his kid in the car?
It's a dumbass move, but I think he's fine. I think he'll be there, and it's nothing too severe. I don't think there's any jail time associated with that. The league may pop him for a game or two, but I think he'll end up starting in the slot for you.
So who will be the number 2 for the Bears?
I think Mooney's your starting Z, and I think Equanimous St. Brown wins the starting X job.
Stop playing.
I mean, they signed him.
He's not bad.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a guy.
Well, they just signed a bunch of dudes. They signed Tajay Sharp and they signed Dante Pettis, so they'll be in the mix. But I think because St. Brown knows the offense, he's coming with Getsy with Green Bay. I think he has a leg up there. Plus, we're talking 6'5", 215. He again has 4.4 speed. He's a legit speedster. So I think he fits what they want to do. And plus, that X position, even though it's a starter, I think he may be like your 5th in targets. Because it's going to be Mooney. It's going to be your slot, your tight ends, your running backs, and then your X. So he's out there to block and to kind of stretch the field once in a while.
Do you see a breakout year, even though we hear this every year, for Cole Kmet?
He had 60 catches last year. That's the 10th most ever from a tight end in Bears history.
Okay.
So, I mean, I guess you want to look at it. He already broke out from that aspect. He didn't do much of the ball in his hands. He had no touchdowns. But again, we're talking Matt Nagy's offense where a lot of hooks, a lot of stagnant routes where he catches the ball, not on the move. Now, he's not the fastest guy. I think he's like a 4.7 guy. But if you get him the ball on the move, he's 265 pounds. You can put that into a corner or a safety and get some yards. Get some yards for the catch. So I think we'll see him used a little differently this year, and I think he'll have another decent year for the Bears.
So if the season were to start tomorrow, what could you see this offense doing?
They'll be okay. I mean, it's going to look different. It's going to take them a while to get used to it. I mean, it's that Kyle Shanahan style, the stuff we saw with the Packers. We see it a lot with the Rams with McVay. Of course, the Niners, with Kyle Shanahan there. So, a lot of bootlegs, a lot of rollouts. I think they may lean on the run a little more early in the season, just because that's kind of how the line looks like it's shaped up. Plus, they have Montgomery, they have Herbert, they have a pretty good tandem there at tailback. I think they're going to want to protect Justin Fields as much as possible until he gets a good grasp of the whole offense. So, more play action, that helps a quarterback.
Would you say he's a quick learner?
Yeah, I mean, that's all the reports. All the reports are that he just,
they got a report.
Yeah, I mean, even though as a rookie, I mean, the stuff at Ohio State, I mean, like he's a guy that, when he makes a mistake, he takes to heart, and then, he really works on correcting that. And, we've seen him all offseason working hard, and, he's been in there, and the coaches say he's further along than you would expect, which is what the coaches are supposed to say. But, you kind of believe with Fields because he kind of has that mentality. I mean, he's all business. There is no he's there to be a professional football player, and that's what he's doing.
Yes, sir. Now, strength of the schedule. How tough would you say the schedule is?
I think the official number is like they were tied for the 7th easiest schedule, which last year I think they were like one of the top 5 of hardest schedules. So it's easier. I mean, they finished 3rd place, so they got a few teams against 3rd place teams. They play the NFC East, which is not very good. They play the AFC East, which is the Jets are on there, and they're not very good. So there's some winnable games. That's about as far as I'll take it. I'm not going to give them a big winning record or anything, but I think there's some games they'll be competitive in. There's some games they'll win, and again, it's all about 2023.
Getting that 1st round pick back too, right?
Yeah, they'll get it back. They'll have $120 million in free agency and money to spend again. So make some strides here in year 2 with Justin Fields. get the defense totally switched over to the new scheme, the offense to the new scheme, and show some strides as a team, and then you make a big splash next season.
So no playoffs this year?
I mean, we are talking the NFC, where a 500-ish record can get you into the playoffs in the NFC. So I mean, it's possible. I mean, I'm not going to write them off. I mean, last year they were 6-10. I don't think they'll be quite as good as the record wise. I think they may have a worse record, but they may look better as an actual team.
No Bears fan wants to hear that. Just
I know. It's tough. I mean, again, who knows? I mean, if the Packers, if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, that changes the NFC North. Mm-hmm. The Lions have some young talent, but are they ready to make a step? The Vikings, they're always decent, but they have a whole new thing going on there too. So it may take them a year to kind of get things going. That
being said, young man, before you're ready to wrap up this one episode, what would be that piece of advice that you would give to the people who are mad at this year's draft?
Just kind of chill out, man. Just let things happen. I was like most fans. When you saw those first few picks, you're mad. You saw some wideouts go off the board that, there's some wideouts not go when you thought they should have. George Pickens, Alec Pierce. A lot of fans wanted these guys. And they kind of fell and they left. And the Bears got a guy that was on no fans' radar in Velus Jones, but once camp starts, once you kind of see how the pieces fit, I think as fans, we'll be happy.
But they had to scheme Jones open, though.
That's good. That's what good coaches are supposed to do.
So it sounds like you're trying to say Matt Nagy wasn't a good coach.
I liked him for a while. I was all in on Nagy for a while. Then at some point, and 2 years ago, I just kind of started seeing the same stubbornness. I was doing a lot of podcast shows, and that was every week I was talking about how stubborn he was. He just didn't want to change what he wanted to do. He doesn't want to build it around his team. And at some point, you got to change. And he tried. He gave the play call to Laser, but Laser, like we talked, Laser wasn't very good. Like where's Bill Laser now? Is he even in the league?
Isn't he the offensive coordinator for the Patriots?
Shoot. I don't know, man. I'm not even sure where he is. I think he may be out of the league. I'm going to Google it when I get off the show.
Sounds good. With that being said, Lester, we definitely appreciate you for having some time for Line. That being said, young ladies and gentlemen, that was the Bears Report.
You calling or you listening, tune in every week. Line for line. Oh yeah, I'm going line for line.